Let's go to Wise Owl, Steve. This is maybe, like I said, your most athletic, productive days are probably behind you, but at the same time, you still got to be a concern. You still can make plays. You can still be of value to an offense, for sure. Who do we have in the Wise Owl? And every time I say this, by the way, I keep thinking of that owl in the Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop commercial.
Oh, no.
That's all I'm thinking about now.
Three.
Okay. Three.
Davante Adams.
Oh, okay.
Davante Adams for me, because I struggled with this when I was a player, but I see it and accept it more and more now as an analyst and a podcaster, is your age makes you old. Because they're
deep. That's deep.
The reason I say that is because in football is so ass backwards from reality, right? When you are, like Davante Adams is here, right? He gets drafted from Fresno, and I like to say, I was rehabbing on the treadmill in Baltimore when he was on a visit in Baltimore, and I remember seeing him, and I stopped him. I said, yo, that's the kid from Fresno State.
Really?
And when I saw him, he remembered that I looked back like, yo, that kid can play. And he remembered me looking back like, does he really know me?
Been scouting and knowing receivers since he was playing, Steve
Yes,
Smith.
And so Davante, just like life, right? So a non-football player, you go to college for 4 years or, junior college, whatever your profession is. You go, and about 30 years old, you start to figure out, because 20-something, you're going, okay, let me get this first job coming out of college. And
entry level, it might be.
Entry level, I get upgraded. I get
promotions.
I get promotions. I get offered by other people, so I move around. But about 30, you start to realize this is what I want to do. And you start to hit that peak where this is my career. I am building it. I'm making money. I'm good. And
I'm stacking years. I'm getting better.
Stack it. And then at some point, it'll plateau, right? Where you just, it's turnkey, it's on autopilot.
Yeah.
Boy, in the National Football League, it's the opposite. You start off at the top. Soon as you get drafted, you getting $20 million guaranteed or whatever the case is, and they're telling you how good you are. And every year after that, they're drafting someone else younger to replace you for cheaper. And so technically, you do this. But what happens, the older players, we start to, as we decline, we're in the corporate world, you're ascending, and it's just, and so that's why I see Davante Adams as a wise owl, where his age is saying that he shouldn't be putting up these numbers. He's not. You remember when I was playing in Baltimore at 37, I was the number one wide receiver, the number one target. I was the big dog of
those
the
games.
Ravens. And Rodney Harrison, me and him would go back. Remember, he was like, is something wrong when the offense is ran through by a 37-year-old wide receiver? I took offense to that. Rodney, I'm sorry. I should not have taken offense. I should have taken it as a compliment. Yeah. But I was so in my feelings and so sensitive and light-skinned that I didn't really see it because I was looking at it. I was hearing his comment and watching his comment on television through the lens of being a victim, right?
I don't want to get older. Like, I don't want,
being a victim of not wanting to admit, yeah, man, it just don't work like it used to.
Yeah. I get it. And I can see it in the role that he's going to play in this offense, right? Because it's going to run through Puka.
Yes.
This type of offense runs through one receiver. We saw kind of maybe there was some, rumblings and thoughts like, Cooper Kupp might be a little upset. Like, man, it's kind of, I passed it over now from me to Puka being the focal point of this offense.
So,
and now I'm kind of the second option.
So here's
But man, he
some
still
of the
did a lot
things
of
I
great things
heard.
for that offense.
It wasn't, the torch wasn't passed. And I have not talked to Cooper about this. We've talked around it, about it, but these are not his words. I get the sense, and organizations do it all the time. Media-wise, we put it in there, because they're friends. He's passing the torch. Organizations usually don't pass the torch. They give the torch to someone else, and you start to realize it in the damn game.
I totally agree. Listen, the way I said it, I wasn't saying like he walked over to Puka's locker and gave him the torch. It was like they were out of practice and Clubby came into the locker room and took the torch out of his locker and put it in Puka's locker.
It's like, hey man, you see my torch?
Yeah, exactly. So I do think with the way though he still runs routes and the way Stafford plays the position.
Yep.
There's still going to be a productive duo for that offense. Now, what was given to me, and this was kind of put like, because I asked about Davante to a couple of guys, and it was all of them kind of universally, Steve, were like, I don't know if he's a big dog anymore. Like, they didn't want to say it. Like, they didn't want to say, I don't know if he's because they loved his game. Like, I mean, and he was a big dog for how long? Like,
forever.
Forever.
When you talk about crossovers and you talking about releases, his release game is lethal.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because this was kind of what was said. I'm looking at the notes here. It's like he's still really productive. He's way more dangerous because he still has a route variety in his bag. And he still has more juice than some of the other guys I would put in the Wise Owl category, I was told. More juice than some. And then this is the best part, though, and I wrote this down when he was talking. It was like, but remember, like, he might be a Wise Owl, but if you put an inferior player up against him, he's still going to rout his ass. Like,
yes.
And that's still true. I think he might be the top of this group, maybe. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, my next guy is going to shock you because I'm hesitant. Wise Owl, but not on the decline, but it has to do with age. Tyreek Hill.
Interesting.
Because Tyreek is getting older. Numbers were down. Not his fault numbers were down. It's not like he couldn't play. It's the situation in Miami with Tua and how that unfolded. And then also how things unfolded in handling a lot of the stuff that didn't go as planned. And how much of a distraction did that cause the team to start now not looking at the wide receiver room as Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and this guy, right? It is now more of how fast can we really rely on Jalen Waddle to be the focal point of this offense?
Yeah. I had one DB coach tell me, like, is he on the I'm sorry list because I gotta see it like come back. I think he still has it. How's he coming back from the wrist? Like, the wrist is a real thing.
Yes, it is.
And how's he coming back from that? And another one was like, he's been a big dog forever. Like, he completely has, and I still think he can be. I just need to see it. So one said I would still put him in the big dog category, but I need to see it this year. I also think the circumstances of Miami this year may play a big factor in that. Steve, they could be sellers by the deadline. Like, they could be sellers by the trade deadline. And Tyreek could be possibly on the move. I don't think they want to give up on it, like blowing the whole thing up right now, because I think Mike wants to still see if he can go and win with this group. But it could be an interesting situation for Tyreek. And he's mending some relationships in that locker room a little bit, the way things ended in the season.
And that's what I mean. And so all of that impacts, how you prepare and get for the season. And so that's why I think it has to do with starting prepare for the changing of guard and how those veteran players sometimes handle that.
Yeah, I got an interesting one for Tyreek before we move on that I'm curious about. I live here in Denver, covered the AFC West like crazy. I've spent a million years with the Chiefs and Tyreek's time and developing a relationship with him when he was in KC. And I remember also when Vic Fangio was in Denver, who's one of the best defensive minds we've seen in recent memory, right? He's like, I don't know of a player with a skill set that I've ever seen that equals Tyreek with the stop-start, the short area quickness, just that skill set. My point is, he's a wise owl now in what you're saying. Has he been able to adapt? I don't know if he's lost a step or not. He's still fast as all hell.
Look, Tyreek losing a step.
He's still faster than everybody
He's still faster than 92% of the world.
Yeah. And so my point is, a lot of times when guys rely on physical attributes a lot when they're younger, and he should rely on the speed and the stop-start, he'd be a fool not to. Have you seen his game change a little bit as he's gotten older?
I have seen his game change, and it was primarily catching the over routes and underneath, getting the ball in his hands when he was in Kansas City, allowing him free access, getting space. And then he goes to Coach McDaniels down in Miami, and all of a sudden he's playing a different position. He's still moving around, but it's not underneath routes. It's also getting him moving and stemming inside, stemming outside, getting the corner off his spot, corner turning and running, and oh, by the way, he's running a curl, he's running a deep end, or he's running a comeback. So he's used his speed to threaten the corner in a way that we've known he's always gonna do. But in Miami, he started to show the different ranges of routes he's able to do that, and then catch the football and take off running 100 miles per hour after that. And that's just cheating. That's a cheat code.
Yeah, it's a cheetah code, I would call it. I call it a cheetah code.
Yeah, yes, the cheetah code.
The cheetah code, right? I mean, I think he can play for sure.
I think he can play too.
Yeah.
But I just putting in these categories have me. I love these categories because it's allowing me to explain the why.
Yeah, for sure.
And some of this is circumstances in there, because without those circumstances, it could be interesting. So
life and this game are not played in a vacuum, Steve, and that's why I like our tiers. This isn't just like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. There's reasoning and context behind each of them. You got anybody else in Wise Owl? Okay.
Chris Godwin.
I was waiting to see where you'd put Godwin, and other people were curious where you'd put Godwin.
Yes.
Honestly.
So Chris Godwin, for me, went down to Tampa, got to see and heard some things, and he's rehabbing. However, in his rehabbing, they expect him to come back and be fluid. He turned down that contract in New England. Great contract. But here's what he didn't turn down: familiarity, understanding his role in this offense.
He is coming off the PUP list. Still don't know when he's going to play during the season. He might miss the first several weeks still. But he was kind of that guy. And I remember us doing a show late in the season where we were like the yards after the catch. I think he was leading the NFL in yards after the catch when he got hurt. Yep. And he plays the position really physically. He blocks well. He does everything right that you want a player to do. It's why Mike Vrabel went so aggressive and was willing to pay him so much, is because he wanted all that in his building.
That fits Mike's personality of coaching style. That's the kind of guys that he wants to be in that locker room.
Yeah. And so do you think, and he's had some injuries, and I think it's partially because of the way he plays the position too, and he's beat up a little bit. So you see his game, because this is what we're always curious about. This is why everybody's curious about what Terry McLaurin's going to get with that contract. Oh no, Steve, he's hitting 30. Does Chris Godwin's game continue to translate because of the way he plays it as he gets older?
It will translate. The issue is going to be the durability and will he be on the pitch count.
Yeah.
And that pitch count is, we have to do something to save himself from himself.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And that will affect, right, for fantasy people, that will affect his numbers. That will affect your team, understanding that there will be some games based on how his body is. He may not be out there for 60 plays. He may only have a 20 or 30 play package for him to get him back up to game speed and also have him for later in the season. You know, Mike Evans is going to have, he's older. He's going to have a game or two where he needs a rest, where he's not going to be available.
Yeah.
But that doesn't affect his yards. He's still going to get 1,000 yards. So that's why I'm saying that.
Yeah. I get it. I mean, he was the best receiver till he got hurt last year. Yeah. Most productive in terms of catches, yards, things like that. I mean,
and because of that, and they lost that productive receiver, that made them look at, if this were to happen again, who do we want to fill that role and be the next Chris Godwin that can be impactful in the run game, be selfless, and be explosive.
Yeah, that's true. And listen, limiting them like this, who knows what they'll be in December? It's all three, you know.
You know what it'll be? Available. And that's where a guy becomes problematic and keep a defensive coordinator up at night.